seaside donkey ride owner in Skegness has actually divided the room and caused controversy this week by demanding that children who look like they might be too heavy for his donkeys get weighed on the beach before they're allowed to get into the saddle. Donkey rides are as synonymous with British holidays as games, arcades, ice cream and rainy days. And so is walking the donkeys up and down the beach with the children on their back. And this family have been doing it for 100 years, and they say that of late, children have got so heavy that it's putting the lives of their donkeys in danger. So they're demanding that children that are heavy step on the scales before they can get on. He's not doing it to fat shame children. He's doing it to look after his donkeys. And he says any child that weighs more than 6 stone, I only weigh 8, will not get on the back of his donkeys. Now, whilst animal lovers might be applauding, Catherine Jenner from the Obesity Health Alliance has said that on BBC News that it's completely unacceptable to weigh a child in public and then say they can't go on a ride. But is it? We often see tearful children at the fun fair being told that they're just not tall enough to get on the roller coaster. They'll have to wait till next year. It's life. They have to get on with it because they're not tall enough. Kids are getting heavier. In 2021-22, 10.1% of 4- and 5-year-olds were obese, and once they get to age 10 or 11, 24% of them are obese and 14% are overweight. So I'm sorry, I'm with John Nuttall and his donkey rides. It's not just because I care about animals either. I'm sick and tired of this use of the slur, fat shaming, to stop any debate about the real health disadvantages of being obese. We need to be able to talk about the literal elephant in the room and explain to people that they must do something about it.
Well, Richard has written in, and Richard says, switch it around and have these overweight kids carry the donkeys up the beach. That's an idea. But I think calling little children elephants, Renee, that's mean, isn't it?
Look, fat children make fat adults. Fat adults are going to die sooner than if they weren't overweight. It's a fact. Being obese causes all sorts of problems, including cancer, and it's costing the NHS a fortune. We need to be able to talk about it.
And it is cruel on the donkeys.
Look, I mean, a friend of mine recently said that obesity runs in the family, and I said, I don't think anyone runs in your family by the looks of it. But in all seriousness, you know, I do think this is wrong, because I suspect that the breadth of weight that an 8-year-old kid has is probably relatively minimal compared to what a donkey can carry. And should you, if your job is to put kids on donkeys' backs, not be able to judge by sight whether it's appropriate without having them have to stare at the scales in front of their parents or their siblings or their mates and everyone else?
So you are OK with them just saying, sorry, Johnny, you just look too fat to me?
Well, no, because I think you can say, oh, I don't think this would work. I don't think this is the right donkey for you, right? You know, maybe you should try red rum or something, you know, that can take you. I think there are much more diplomatic ways you can do it. And this could cause real trauma. You know what? Referring more to adults than kids. But if the problem with fat people was telling them they were fat, then they wouldn't any longer be fat. They know what they look like. It's just not that simple.
Well, within the context of it being a donkey that they're sitting on, it's a little bit different, because that donkey will possibly, you know, break his back after multiple.
Carrying humans.
After multiple. Well, quite. There's an argument for that as well. Animal welfare. I genuinely do believe it's wrong to have kids that are overweight sit on top of an animal that's going to be hurt by them. I don't see how anyone reasonable can disagree with that. I don't know what the method should be, whether it's weighing them or not. I haven't really thought about it, but maybe that might seem a little bit cruel. But at the same time, who do you prioritise?
Is it any more cruel than measuring them and saying you're not tall enough?
I don't disagree with you there, Renee.
Yeah. I think my question would be, why is it that kids are getting fatter? And instead of talking about a symptom of a problem, let's talk about the cause of a problem. I was a fat child. I was quite depressed after my parents split up, and I comfort ate. Lots of people comfort eat. Other people are fat because they don't do enough exercise. They've got a very sedentary lifestyle and they eat too many calories. Other people are fat because they have some sort of illness which makes them fat. Now, I think that's really quite over-egged, actually, in today's society. Everyone's suddenly got an illness that makes them fat as soon as you start talking about 63% of adults being overweight. We need to start talking about the causes of why people are so fat and actually solve them. But whenever people start talking about interventions from the state to either reduce the amount of sugar and salt and fat in food, Alex, Darren and company start talking about the creep of the nanny state.
Well, I would wonder, though, if the poor donkey tour owner or whatever it is would be worried that he'd be accused of being discriminatory and fall, under some discrimination law for saying no to this fat child.
Can I ask, because obviously you're a GP, so this is something that you deal with very practically. You know, you do see people, they say they've got a thyroid problem, and I think you've got a cake in mouth problem, to be honest. How do you actually manage that when you're confronted with somebody?
It's very, very difficult, but you have to... Well, you can prove someone doesn't have a thyroid problem. It's quite easy to prove. Say, OK, fine, that might be the problem. Let's sort it out.
So that's legitimate, a thyroid problem?
Yeah, but it's very small in terms of the number of people that are overweight because of that. So Albie's right, that is over-egged. But there are some people on steroids, for example. But most people, if they eat less, will lose weight.
Yeah.
And it is as simple as that. Also, if most people did not eat ultra-processed food, they wouldn't be overweight.
Correct. And I do think this also goes to the point about the nanny state situation. Parents should take responsibility for their children's health.